Welcome to Mindful Objective, the podcast where we uncover the root causes of health concerns and explore holistic solutions to help you make more informed choices about your well-being. I'm Dr. Daniel Sproul, integrative health practitioner and professor, and on today's we're diving into something that's everywhere, yet almost invisible, and that is microplastics. We'll break down what they are, how they get into your body, the potential impact of your hormones, gut, immune system, most importantly, what you could do about it. At Mindful Objective, we take a whole body approach. We connect environmental toxins like plastics to the systems of the body because real health is more than just diet and exercise. It's about reducing what burdens your body so it can thrive. A quick medical disclaimer. This podcast is for informational and educational purposes only. We do not diagnose, cure, or treat any illness or disease. So let's get into it. So what are microplastics and where are they hiding? Let's start at the beginning. What exactly are microplastics? Microplastics are tiny plastic fragments, fibers, and beads that are less than 5 millimeters long. They're about the size of a sesame seed or smaller. Some are visible to the eye, many are not. These particles come in two main sources. First, they are primary microplastics, which are tiny plastic particles that are intentionally manufactured. So think of microbeads once used in facial scrubs or toothpaste, or plastic pellets used in manufacturing. Then there are secondary microplastics, which are more widespread. These form larger plastic items like bottles, bags, containers, synthetic fabrics. These break down over time due to sun exposure, weather, and wear and tear. Now people may ask, okay, but how do they end up inside me? Well, that's a good question. That's a surprising part. Microplastics are found now virtually found everywhere: air, soil, rivers, oceans, and inside the food chain. These particles make their way into water systems, our produce, our homes, and our bodies. They're so widespread that it's safe to say that they've become a daily part of our modern life. So let's look at how they show up in real life. In bottled water, a study by Orb Media found microplastics in 93% of bottled water samples from major brands. Some bottles had hundreds of microplastic particles per liter. Then we have tap water. This is not immune. Microplastics have been found in municipal water supplies all over the world. Seafood, especially shellfish like mussels, clams, and oysters. These animals filter large volumes of water and often ingest microplastic particles. Then they pass it to us when we eat them. They also been found in fruits and vegetables. Research from 2020 found microplastics inside carrots, apples, and lettuce. These particles may be absorbed through the roots from contaminated soil or water. It's found in household dust. A surprising but significant source, microplastics shed from textiles, upholstery, and plastic-based furniture. This can float in the air and settle into dust, which we inhale and accidentally ingest, especially in children. Salt and honey, both natural products that become contaminated during harvesting, processing, and packaging. It's estimated that the average person may be consuming 50,000 to 100,000 microplastic particles each year through food and drink. And that number doesn't even include what we breathe and absorb through the skin or via contact. One widely cited study even estimated that humans may ingest about a credit card's worth of plastic every week. Now you may be wondering, if they're so small, do they really matter? Well, yes, this is because microplastics aren't just inert particles. Many of them contain and absorb harmful chemicals. These include phthalates, which are plasticizers used to make plastics more flexible. BPA or related compounds, these are found in containers, receipts, and can be in linings of material. Heavy metals like cadmium and lead. Pesticides and industrial pollutants that cling to plastic surfaces. Flame retardants, these are used in electronics and synthetic fabrics. So these chemicals are known to disrupt your endocrine system, which is your hormones. This causes oxidative stress and interfere with detoxification of the systems and the body. Some are linked to developmental disorders, fertility issues, obesity, cancer, and immune dysfunction. So from an integrative health perspective, we always think in the terms of load and resilience. Your body is designed to detoxify, but if it's designed to handle natural occurring stressors, not a nonstop stream of synthetic chemicals and pollutants from our environment. So think of your health like a bucket. Every toxin, microplastic, pesticides, food additives, stress, mold exposure is a drop in that bucket. Eventually, if enough drops go into that, nothing can be taken out. The bucket overflows. And Dr. Cabral has this as the rain barrel effect. It's a great book to get. So that overflow shows up as symptoms. This may be fatigue, brain fog, headaches, hormone imbalances, digestive problems, or even skin issues. Microplastics might not be the single cause, but they're one of the contributors filling your bucket. And here's the even thing that's trickier. Microplastics don't always act alone. They often work in synergy with other environmental toxins, amplifying the damage. For example, a plastic particle floating in the ocean water can absorb pesticides and petroleum residue. When that particular particle enters your body, it brings those chemicals with it, creating a sort of toxic package that creates delivered right to your tissues. The body might treat these particles as invaders. This can lead to inflammation, particularly in the gut, liver, and immune systems. Over time, chronic low-grade inflammation contributes to everything from autoimmune issues to accelerating aging. So yes, size matters, but not in the way you think. Sometimes these toxics don't have to be large to be harmful. A lot of these are very micro and they're still causing effects on the body. So the cumulative exposure of microplastic and chemicals they carry is what concerns us as in the holistic health side of things. Coming in contact with all these different things, it adds up in the body. So here's something important. Conventional medicine isn't yet equipped to deal with this. If you go to a standard doctor or and mention microplastics, you'll likely get shrugged or be told not to worry. That's not because they don't care. It's because the research is still emerging and it hasn't been made into everyday clinical practice. But integrative and functional medicine, that's where we're watching it closely. Because we don't just look at symptoms, we ask what's burdening the body? What's getting in the way of healing? And more environmental toxins like microplastics are part of this conversation. The good news is that you're not powerless. You don't need to eliminate 100% of these plastic exposures to make a difference. Even small changes like switching to a glass containers, avoiding plastic wrapped produce, filtering your water can significantly reduce your toxin overload over time. In this next segment, we're going to talk about exactly how microplastics interact with your body, your hormones, your gut, and your immune system, and even your brain. So how do microplastics affect my health and why integrative health cares? Now that we unpacked what microplastics are and where they're hiding, let's explore how they impact the body. This is where it gets both fascinating and concerning, because even though these particles are tiny, often invisible, they have a big reach inside the body. As integrative health, we do not just care about the symptoms. Again, we look at the root causes. That means looking closely at the small things that quietly disrupt your body's health behind the scenes. And remember, microplastics is one of those. So how do they affect your health? It's not just the plastic itself that's problematic. It's what's in the plastic, what's on it, and how it interacts with your body. So think of microplastics as little rafts floating through your system. They often carry harmful chemicals, the BPA, flame retardants, and heavy metals. And once inside the body, they don't just float around harmlessly. They lodge in tissue, they spark inflammation, and they interact with your cells. Now let's walk through the 5 major systems that microplastics can affect. So hormones and endocrine disruption. This is one of the biggest health concerns from integrative health perspective. Many of these chemicals associated with microplastics, especially phthalates and BPA, they all are disruptors to the endocrine system. This means they can mimic, block, or interfere with your hormones. So hormones regulate everything from mood to metabolism to fertility. When those signals get scrambled, the result can show subtle and sometimes not so subtle ways. So it could show you in irregular or painful periods, low libido, fertility changes, thyroid dysfunction, unexplained weight gain, mood swings and anxiety, chronic fatigue, So these issues are often treated as in isolation, but the underlying root cause can include hormone disrupting chemicals, some of which that may have come from plastic exposure. We see this a lot in people who are doing everything right but still feel off. Once we test for environmental toxins, we often find elevated levels of plastic-related compounds. And here's the kicker: even low levels of exposure can affect hormone balance, especially over time. These aren't acute poisons, they're cumulative disruptors. The next one is immune dysfunction and chronic inflammation. So again, microplastics can also trigger inflammation, which is the root of almost every chronic disease, from arthritis to heart disease to autoimmune conditions. So when plastic particles enter the gut, lungs, or bloodstream, your immune system may treat them as invaders. This can lead to chronic low-grade inflammation, increased oxidative stress, immune system confusion and dysregulation. In some cases, this may contribute to onset worsening of autoimmune conditions. And in others, that just creates a general sense of not feeling well. And this goes similar symptoms like brain fog, fatigue, and slower recovery from illness. In integrative health, inflammation is one of the first things we assess because it affects everything: your energy, your mood, your digestion, and your ability to heal. The next one is your gut health and microbiome disruption. Your gut is ground zero for health. Again, we hear this a lot, is the gut and brain connection. So that's a big one. So again, your gut is ground zero for health. It's where you absorb nutrients, process toxins, and house about 70% of your immune system. And unfortunately, microplastics hit the gut hard. Studies show microplastics can damage the intestinal lining, disrupt beneficial bacteria in the microbiome, increased intestinal permeability. We call this leaky gut. It also triggers inflammatory responses. This matters when your brain barrier is compromised, like from these toxins. Undigested food particles and bacteria can enter the bloodstream. This leads to systematic inflammation. During this time, you may notice bloating, food sensitivities, IBS-like symptoms, skin flare-ups, foggy thinking after meals. In my practice, when someone shows signs of gut dysfunction but hasn't responded to typical changes in diet, we often consider environmental toxins like plastic as part of the puzzle. The next one we have here is brain health and neurological impact. So one of the newer and more alarming areas of research involves microplastics in the brain. Scientists have found that nanoplastics, the smallest form of plastic, may cross the blood-brain barrier, and the protective shield that usually is harmful. It tries to keep harmful substances out of your brain, but sometimes that fails. In animal studies, these particles have been linked to behavioral changes, impaired learning or memory, signs of neuroinflammation, changes in neurotransmitter levels. This could consist of, dopamine, serotonin, and so forth. So again, this area is still an emerging area, but early evidence suggests that long-term exposure to plastics associated with toxins can contribute to cognitive decline, mood disorders, and neurodevelopmental issues. Again, we're not saying plastic exposure is a sole cause of brain-related concerns, but it could be one of the factors chipping away at your neurological health over time. So another one is toxic load and cellular stress. Finally, microplastics contribute to what we call toxin load, the total amount of toxins in your body is dealing with on any given day. Microplastics absorb other environmental toxins, again, like pesticides, PCBs, and heavy metals. When they enter your system, they act like delivery agents, bring these toxins deeper into your tissues and cells. So that increase in oxidative stress overwhelm your detox organs, especially your liver, and lead to fatigue, poor sleep, skin problems, hormone imbalances, and also slower recovery time from stress and illness. So think of it this way. Your body has limited capacity to process and eliminate toxins. If you're already dealing with stress, poor diet, lack of sleep, and inflammation, then you add a steady trickle of plastic-related chemicals, it could push your body beyond its tipping point. So what's this meant in real life? Well, let's bring it all together. In integrative health, we often meet people who are doing everything right, but still don't feel their best. They're eating clean, exercising, taking supplements, but something still feels off. That's when we dig deeper, and often we uncover underlying burdens like mold exposure, heavy metals, and yes, plastic toxins. Again, the goal here isn't fear, it's informed awareness. Again, we're all about education. You're not going to eliminate 100% plastic exposure, and no, that's okay. There's nothing perfect out there, especially in this world. But by understanding how these particles affect your system, you can make changes that reduce your load and support resilience. So in this next segment, I'll walk you through how we actually test for microplastics, the toxins in the body, and what those tests reveal and how they fit into your holistic wellness plan. So can we test for microplastics? And yes, you want to understand your exposure. By now you may be thinking, okay, I understand what microplastics are and I understand how they might be affecting my health, but how do I actually know if I have been exposed? So again, that's a great question. One of the challenges in taking and talking about microplastics is that they're hard to detect. So these particles are tiny. Many are microscopic, and we currently don't have widely available tests that can count or locate microplastics directly inside the body. So does that mean we're out of luck? Well, not at all. While we can't yet test for microplastic particles themselves, what we can test for are the chemical compounds from plastics they are made of and the toxins they often carry. Again, these include the phthalates, BPA, flame retardants, and other persistent organic pollutants, which are POPs. These compounds are measured in urine, blood, and even breast milk, and they offer us real insight to how much of a burden plastic-related chemicals are placing on our system. So let's walk through the 4 most common type of testing that integrative health practitioners use to evaluate practical related toxic load. So then we have the phthalate testing. These are chemicals used in plastics to make it more flexible and durable. You will find them everywhere, from plastic wrap to vinyl flooring to shampoo and fragrances. They're also used in some medications, food packaging, and fast food containers. So in your daily life, you might be exposed through heating food in plastic containers, drinking from disposable water bottles, using plastic shower curtains, applying lotion, perfume, or makeup with synthetic fragrances, touching receipts. Many are coated with a plastic-like film. So this testing is usually done via a urine test. Labs look at the metabolites. These are usually what's broken down products in your body that creates as it tries to get rid of the phthalates. If these levels are high, they tell us that your body has been exposed to a significant amount of them recently. So from this perspective, elevated levels have been linked to hormone imbalances, poor sperm quality, and male fertility issues, early puberty in girls, weight gain and insulin resistance, disruption of your thyroid function. So again, that's a wide range of effects from a chemical most of us have never heard of. Another test is BPA and BPS testing. So you probably heard of BPA-free stickers on reusable water bottles and baby products. That's because BPA is another plastic-related compound with well-known hormone-disrupting effects. It's often found in polycarbonate plastics and epoxy resin lining of canned foods. When BPA came under scrutiny, manufacturers replaced it with BPS and BPF, as in Frank. But these substitutes may be harmful, if not more. So urine tests can detect a recent exposure to BPA and its analogs. Even small amounts have been linked to insulin resistance and blood sugar imbalance, increased risk of obesity, fertility changes, thyroid disruptions, brain development issues in children. If you ever microwave food in plastic, eaten canned soup, or handed a lot of receipts, you're most likely exposed. Knowing your BPA and BPS levels gives you the power to make meaningful lifestyle adjustments and reduce ongoing exposure. The next one we have here is environmental toxin. The next test we have is environmental toxin panels and POP testing. So some tests go beyond individual components and look broader panel on environmental toxins. This includes dioxins and furans. These are byproducts of industrial processes and burning plastics. Then you have polybrominated ethers. Excuse me. These are flame retardant in electronics and in furniture. Then we have organochlorine pesticides. These are still present in some imported foods and soil. Heavy metals like mercury and cadmium. Then you have PCPs. These are banned but still persistent in our environment. So these toxins are commonly found and attached to plastic particles, acting like a delivery system or bring them deep into your tissues. So depending on the test, samples might be taken from urine, blood, hair, or even fat tissue. Since many of these toxins are fat soluble and accumulate in fatty areas of the body. These tests are incredibly helpful for people who are dealing with chronic fatigue, autoimmune conditions, neurological symptoms, or mystery illnesses that don't respond to conventional treatment. They help us ask, is this person's detox system overloaded? And what's their total toxin burden? So then there is one more test, glyphosate testing. This isn't in plastic, but it's often part of the same exposure picture. It's most widely used in herbicides around the world, found in many conventional grown foods. And like microplastic, it disrupts the gut microbiome, impairs liver dysfunction, and it increases intestinal permeability. In another layer, consider when evaluating a toxic overload. So a simple urine test can assess these kind of levels. When someone has high levels of the glyphosate, and we understand that they're elevated plastic-related toxins, which we know their body is under significant chemical stress. So now here's the important point. These tests don't diagnose disease. They don't tell you you have a plastic-related illness. What they do tell you is whether your body is carrying a heavy burden of chemicals associated with plastics. That's incredible, useful in integrative medicine, where we are looking at stressors that interfere with healing, energy, immunity, and hormone balance. So knowing your toxic load helps your practitioner create a personalized detox strategy. This might include specific supplements to support liver pathways, sauna sessions to increase toxin elimination through sweat, high fiber diets to promote daily elimination, antioxidants to reduce oxidative stress, environmental upgrades to reduce future exposure. So these labs are FDA compliant, scientifically validated, and widely used in functional and integrative clinics around the world. They're also safe and non-invasive, usually just a simple urine or blood test. So by interpreting them correctly, this is where it matters. You'll want to work with your practitioner who understands how these chemicals work in the body and how they support your detox process without overwhelming your system. So again, you don't have to guess when it comes to these kind of things. There are tests out there. And you don't have to wonder whether microplastics are affecting your health. Again, thanks to modern lab testing, you can measure your exposure to the compounds most closely related to plastics, and then you're empowered to take action. So in our next segment, I'll walk you through those action steps, from what to swap in your kitchen to how to support your body's natural detox systems. I'll give you real practical strategies you could start today. Because awareness is only the first step. The next step is action. So what can you do? What are practical steps to reduce microplastic exposures? So we've talked about what microplastics are. We explore how they might be affecting your hormones, immune system, gut, and brain. We've even looked at lab testing available to assess your exposure. Now it's time to talk about the most important part, what you could do about it. Because here's the truth. We can't live in a plastic-free world, at least not yet. We can't take meaningful steps to reduce our daily exposure. And in integrative health, that's exactly our approach we take. Small, consistent lifestyle upgrades that lighten your toxic load and support your body's resilience. That's why when it comes to working with a practitioner, we always suggest a minimum 3 to 6 month commitment, and that is because things take time. So we want to, adjust as we go along the way. We work to provide information and, take actionable steps, but work with you hand in hand to understand how your body's adjusting and what we could do to improve that. So let's break this down to 7 simple, doable categories. As I walk through them, think about one thing you could start this week. That's all it takes to begin shifting your environmental and your health. So number 1, rethink your containers. This is a big one. Your kitchen is one of the easiest places to start reducing plastic exposure. Many people still use plastic containers for storing food, reheating leftovers, and packaging lunches. The problem is plastics can leach harmful chemicals into your food, especially when heated. So try these swaps. Use glass or stainless steel containers instead of plastic Tupperware. And if you go to our website, mindfulobjective.com, you will see under shop our recommendations for different kind of containers that are out there. I think a lot of those are through Amazon. So if you shop at Amazon, again, feel free to go to mindfulobjective.com and just click on shop, and then you should see our recommendations in there. So choose silicone lids, beeswax wraps, and reusable cloth wraps instead of plastic wrap or aluminum foil. Opt for mason jars to store dry goods, leftovers, and even beverages. So these are small changes, but they make a difference over time, especially if you're storing food daily. The next thing you want to do is upgrade your water. So again, water is essential to our life, but it's also surprisingly source of microplastics exposure. Both bottled water and tap water have been found to contain microplastic particles. So again, it's just not in the bottles, it's in the water itself. So what can you do? Invest in quality water filter. Look for systems with carbon block technology, reverse osmosis, NSF certifications for removing microplastics, chlorine, and heavy metals. Avoid single-use plastic bottles. Instead, use glass or stainless steel water bottle that you could refill. If you're on a budget, even a basic pitcher filter is better than nothing. It can reduce common contaminants and improve taste. Filtered water is not just cleaner, it also reduces your intake in invisible plastic particles and hormone-disrupting chemicals they carry. On that note again, mindfulobjective.com, go to shop, and we do have recommendations when it comes to reverse osmosis systems and water filters. Number 3, clean smarter at home. Do you know that indoor air can be polluted it can be polluted even without outdoor air? So microplastics shed from carpet, furniture, electronics, and clothing, which can be airborne, settle in the dust, and circulate in your home. So to reduce your exposure, use a HEPA filter vacuum weekly to pick up fine particles and synthetic fibers. Dust with a damp cloth, not a dry duster, which can just stir particles in the air. Open up windows from time to time to bring in fresh air and improve ventilation. Consider an air purifier with a HEPA filter, especially in bedrooms and main living spaces. If you have kids that play on the floor or pets who lick surfaces, clean air and low dust can make a big impact. And again, mindfulobjective.com, and then click on shop, and we have recommendations for fresh air filters and just many different things that talk about these topics. But there are some recommendations on there with the whole house air purifiers. So we do have them in all of our bedrooms, in the living room, kitchen area. Definitely you'll see a difference. You can buy one of those, let it run 24 hours a day. In a few weeks, take it out and see that filter, and you're able to a lot of times wash those filters. But then you'll see what people have been breathing in. So when you have a HEPA filter in your house with the air purifier, you'll notice and look and think, man, I got to wash this filter. This is what we've been breathing in. So it's a great product to have. So the other thing you want to do is reevaluate your wardrobe. Most clothing today is made of synthetic fibers, polyester, nylon, acrylic. This shed tiny microfibers every time you wear or wash them. So here's how to reduce the impact. Buy clothes made with natural fibers like organic cotton, linen, bamboo, wool, or hemp. Wash synthetic clothes less frequently and use cold water when possible. Add a guppy fried bag or laundry ball to your washing machine to trap microfibers before they enter the water system. Think also about air drying clothing instead of tumble dry. This minimizes shedding. So again, it's not about throwing out your whole entire wardrobe. It's about making better choices with each new purchase and caring for the clothes you already have in the way that reduces shedding. The fifth one is detox your bathroom products. Many personal care products contain microplastics or plastic-derived ingredients. Look at the ingredient label. If you see words like polyethylene or polypropylene, that's a red flag. These tiny particles can enter your body through your skin or water supply. To clean up your routine, choose products that come in glass jars or compostable packaging. Look for labels that say microplastic free or EWG verified. Go fragrance free or use brands that rely on natural essential oils for scent. You may see these, lemon oil, what was the other one? Obviously, my brain is blank right now. But there's a few out there, right? Brain went blank. So use resources like Environmental Working Group Skin Deep Database to check for product safety. Again, EWG, Environmental Working Group, they have a great website, and you could search different products in there to identify if it's toxic or kind of products you should buy. So swapping out a few key items like your lotion, face wash, or deodorant can significantly reduce your chemical load over time. Number 6, you want to support your natural detox pathways. So your body already knows how to detox, but it needs the right conditions to do so efficiently. Rather than turning to extreme cleanses or detox kits, focus on daily habits that help body eliminate toxins gently and consistently. Eat cruciferous vegetables like broccoli, kale, cabbage. They support liver detox. Get plenty of fiber from foods like chia seeds, flax, beans, and leafy greens to support bowel regularly. Drink enough water. You want to make sure this is clean, filtered water to flush out toxins through urine and sweat. Try dry brushing and lymphatic massage to stimulate lymph flow. Move your body daily. Walking, rebounding, or yoga can help circulation and detox. Consider infrared sauna sessions if available to encourage sweating and toxic release through skin. You also want to prioritize quality sleep. This is when your brain and body repair and reset. So when you detox your organs like liver, kidneys, lymph, and skin and are supported, you become more resilient to environmental stressors like plastics. And we do also offer through Mindful Objective detox protocols to help, it's supplement-based, where you get all your nutrients, you detox your body, your liver, and so forth. So if you're interested in a detox kit, again, reach out to mindfulobjective.com/contact us. Reach out. We can provide recommendations when it comes to detoxification. The next thing you want to do is be a conscious consumer. So every purchase is a vote for your health and for the planet. Start asking questions. Can I buy this item without plastic packaging? Is there a reusable or refillable alternative? Does the company have a sustainability mission? So choose wooden toothbrushes instead of plastic. Say no to plastic straws and utensils. Bring your own bags to the store. Buy in bulk when possible. Support local farmers and brands that avoid unnecessary packaging. These choices may feel small, but over time they add up. They send a message to manufacturers that we want cleaner and safer products. So again, at Mindful Objective, we believe in progress, not perfection. You hear me say this on every podcast. Nobody's perfect, so slow progress. It'll get you there. You don't need to overhaul your entire life overnight. You just need to start somewhere. So here's a challenge for you this week. Swap out one plastic item you use every day. It might be a shampoo bottle, your plastic lunchbox, your cling wrap. Pick one and replace it with a better alternative. That's one shift, may seem small, but it signals your body and your brain that you're moving forward toward a less toxic living. Over time, these decisions stack up and lead to real measurable changes of how you feel. So you're not just avoiding something harmful, you're creating a healthier foundation for you and your family. So let's carry that energy moving forward. Let's go on to the listener questions and answers. And I think I have 10 again here. So again, you asked, we're answering. To have your question heard on the air, go to mindfulobjective.com/podcast. You'll see a list of our podcasts, but below, if you scroll down, you will see a form you could fill out and ask a question. And then, don't hesitate. Ask away different topics, what you want to see. And depending on the topic of the show, we'll include your question and answer. So listener question 1, can I completely eliminate microplastics from my life? So probably not completely, and that's okay. Microplastics are widespread in the environment, but you can dramatically reduce your exposure. So you want to take those small steps like swapping out those plastic containers for glass, filtering your water, and choosing natural fiber clothing. Again, these all add up over time. It's not about perfection. It's about lowering your daily burden in manageable ways. And this is where lab testing comes into play. You could take a lab test prior, see what your levels are to, stress and toxins, and make these changes over time, another 6-12 months retest and see how your body changed. Listener question number 2, are microplastics stored in the body, or how do we eliminate them? So some plastic-related chemicals like BPA are processed and eliminated by the body, usually through urine, sweat, and stool. But others may linger longer, especially if your detox pathways are overburdened or undernourished. Again, nutrition. So supporting your body's natural elimination system through hydration, fiber, and liver supporting foods can help. And this is where, again, functional medicine detox, perform a liver detox, to help get out these bad toxins. Listener question number 3, what symptoms might suggest microplastic exposure? So microplastic exposure doesn't usually cause one clear symptom. Instead, it may contribute to broader issues like fatigue, hormone imbalance, digestive discomfort, brain fog, and skin irritation. But those symptoms can have many causes. It could be best to work with a qualified, health practitioner at Mindful Objective to expose and explore what's happening in your unique case. Again, each individual body is different. So each person's body responds differently. Again, what one thing may work for one may not work for another. One person may have a symptom of such as a headache because they're drinking from so many plastic water bottles, while the other person could drink from water bottles their whole life and never have a symptom from that exposure. So again, each person's body is different. So you can never compare you to your friend, to your family member, to your neighbor. Again, your body processes things differently. Your body stores things differently. Your body may have different deficiencies than the next person. You may feel perfectly fine, and you may still have a lot of toxic exposures. So again, keep that in mind. It's always worth getting lab tested from an integrative health practitioner to kind of identify, a foundational level. How is your body currently? What do I need to adjust? Even though I feel fine, I want to have a long, healthy life. What do I do to make that happen? And a lot of times we'll do this testing. People feel fine and then identify, I didn't know I was deficient in B vitamins or vitamin C. Or I didn't know my stress, I'm doing fasting all the time. I didn't know it's stressing out my body, causing, advanced aging and stuff like that. So there's a lot to it. So that's why, again, work with a practitioner. It's a longer commitment, but we're here to help. Question number 4, is bottled water safer than tap water when it comes to microplastics? So this is not necessarily true. In fact, many studies show that bottled water often contain more microplastic particles than tap water. Your best bet, use a high-quality filter at home and drink from reusable glass or stainless steel bottles. It's better for you and it's better for the environment. Question number 5. Should I throw out all my plastic food containers? Well, not right away. Instead, focus on gradually replacing them with safer alternatives like glass, silicone, or stainless steel, especially for storing hot food or anything you plan to put in the microwave. So plastics can leach chemicals from when easily exposed to heat or acidic foods. So prioritize those swaps first. Again, microwave stuff, use glass. That's what we always push for. Water, same. Water bottles, glass, stainless steel. So listener question number 6. How do microplastics get in fruits and vegetables? Well, they can be absorbed through the roots when the soil or irrigation water is contaminated. Microplastics can also settle on produce from the air or during packaging or transport. So you want to wash your produce and support healthy digestion. This can help reduce the impact, but this is also one reason why food containers and sourcing matter. Listener question 7, is it safe to test for plastic-related chemicals at home? Well, most reliable testing should be done through a lab and interpreted through a trained integrative health practitioner, such as Mindful Objective. We have many here to help you on your way. So again, don't hesitate to reach out, but know that some at-home tests exist, but results can be difficult to understand without proper context. So again, we want to look at the whole picture, look at all of your symptoms, look at what you're doing, what supplements you're on, what pharmaceuticals you're on, how your water is. There's a lot that go into what we do. So these tests aren't meant to diagnose disease. They're tools for learning more about your environment and how it may be affecting your health. Listener question number 8. Can children be affected by microplastics too? Yes, children may be more vulnerable due to their developmental systems, smaller size and greater exposure, like crawling on floors and putting toys in their mouth. That's why it's especially helpful to limit plastics in items like bottles, utensils, toys, and personal care products for young ones. Listener question number 9. Do microplastics cause cancer? Well, current research is still exploring this, and we don't have a definite answer yet. Some chemicals found in plastics are classified as possible carcinogens, but most studies are needed to understand the long-term impact of microplastic exposure on cancer risk. We focus on reducing unnecessary exposure as a preventative step, not out of fear, but out of care for long-term wellness. Again, what we do on integrative health side, we focus on preventative measures. So, before you get a disease, before you have these symptoms, that's where we want to work with you. Even if you do have different kind of symptoms, how do we eliminate those symptoms? What can we do to help you? And that's where then we take that proactive approach rather than when you go to see your physician after the fact. We look before the fact and identify how we could help you live, the best you want to live, right? We all want to have a long life on earth. So we have to take proactive measures to try to maintain that, to get us where we want to go. So again, don't hesitate to reach out when it comes to questions relating to any of this stuff and to understand the difference between a regular physician and, functional medicine on our side, integrative health. So what's one thing I could do this week to start reducing my exposure? This is listener and final question number 10. Again, choose one daily item like your water bottle, food wrap, shampoo bottle, and swap it for a non-plastic version. That small action sends a powerful signal to your body and your lifestyle. It's all about building momentum, not doing it all at once. Doing it all at once, it's expensive. A lot of people can't do that. And you want to slowly, gradually make changes and not overwhelm yourself. Because a lot of people overwhelm themselves. They get into a health kick, all for it, and a month later they quit. So that's where we do not want to take it. We want to slowly work with you. Again, identify your issues, identify your goals, and work with you to achieve those goals. So again, do not hesitate to reach out for any questions when it comes to holistic integrative health. So in closing, understanding the impact of microplastics isn't about fear. It's about awareness. You can't avoid all exposure, but you can make choices that lighten your body's toxic load and support your long-term health. Again, from swapping plastics from glass to upgrading your personal care products, to supporting your natural detox system, every step counts. The goal is to make informed, intentional changes that help your bodies function the way it's designed to. At Mindful Objective, we believe that education leads to empowerment. So that's what we're doing with these podcasts. We're trying to get that information out there. Not everybody knows this stuff. So what we could do to help whoever we could help, that's our goal. right? So you have more control over your environment and your health than you really think. Again, here's a simple challenge. Replace one plastic item you use daily with a safer, reusable alternative. Small shifts will create big momentum. So if today's episode sparked new awareness, be sure to subscribe and share it with someone who needs to hear it. Follow us on at Mindful Objective on social media for more insights. And visit our website for resources, testing options, and cleaner living recommendations. Again, that's mindfulobjective.com, all one word. And, we'll do our best to help you. And again, you just have a regular question, feel free to just use to contact us and somebody will get back to you, and we're here to help. So a reminder, this podcast is for informational, educational purposes only. We do not diagnose, cure, or treat any illness or disease. So thanks for joining me today. Stay curious, stay informed, and stay well.